Hello, internet friends, and welcome to episode number 191. For real this time, if you're watching live, I may have scuffed the poll, but I'm going to blame it on being a little under the weather right now. All right, you can hear it. Some of you may be like, oh, he sounds so much better than he usually does, but it's not great when I'm coughing, and I'll be mute my microphone off camera the whole freaking show today. This is for you, all right? Don't say I ever gave you nothing. I'm just gonna wave my finger at the camera because I think it looks funny. But anyway, my name is Adam K, aka Bay. Welcome to episode number 191 of Final Boss TV. We're talking about Shadow Priest today. I was gonna talk about the show almost a month ago, but between IRL scheduling and moving guests and potential guests and other, it was a nightmare, all right? And just like how chat said, and even the show today, because I scuffed it, you cannot think something's gonna work properly with the void involved, and we've been working on the show for like a month. So hopefully, it's good to go. But of course, this show would not be here if there weren't some very special nerds and ladies out there I have to extend my appreciation to that are supporting the show, the stream, and everything in between. Thank you very much to my patrons over on the show's Patreon page. It means a whole lot to me. It helps support what I do here, especially all the art. It's where a lot of the production value comes from, all the artists I work with. Thank you very much for supporting what I do here. If you want more of the show, because there literally is more of the show, you can head over to the show's Patreon page. Link is, of course, down below the screen. You get the behind-the-scenes show notes. You get the behind-the-scenes podcasts. If you keep scrolling back down here, there is a Jaina wallpaper that Tutron put together. We're doing another one for Azshara coming up here as well. Those are extra little things you can get for supporting what I do here and just getting literally more of the podcasts, if that's what you want. That's up to you. I'm more of this voice, I guess, until I actually get better. That's fine. But again, of course, I have to start the show off with a big shout out to my sponsor, Corsair and Elgato. They have sent me a whole bunch of stuff to work on my new rig and my new setup and actually convert my studio in my house and actually feel like I've made it. So thank you very much to them. If you need any bits and pieces and parts and bits and bobs for your upcoming build, links are down below, right here on Twitch or on YouTube. But that's enough of me babbling. Babbled away. If you weren't here setting up, you were hearing that this guy, Djriff's come to the show. He was eating cheese but biting it, sir.
Hey, listen. The cheese was not peelable, okay? It's a giant block of cheese in this little tiny package right here, and you can only take little bites at a time. If I could string it like you normally eat string cheese, I would have. But hey, everybody, how's it going?
But was it good? What kind of cheese was it?
I told you, it was pepper jack.
Oh, pepper jack.
Yeah. Colby Jack, sorry.
Oh.
My wife just corrected me. Even better.
There you go. Well, welcome back, sir. Glad to have you back on the show.
Thank you for having me back. Appreciate it.
Sorry it took so long to get to this point, but I guess it's just Shadow Priest things.
Yeah, we like to wait. We have a lot of backloaded stuff,
You're waiting to get nerfed. Is that what you're waiting? Is that what you're going at?
No, that's where all our damage is.
Oh,
it used to be.
Joining you today, partner in crime, balancing it out. Public, welcome back to the show, sir. Hello.
Hello, everybody. This is like the 5th time I've said hello today. Look what you made me do.
What have you done? I thought you didn't say hello.
I've broken everything. It's all broken.
But you didn't break earlier today when I started the call up about an hour ago. You were actually pulling string cheese correctly.
Yes. Yeah, the correct way is the model string cheese, perfect mozzarella string cheese, the right way, just for you, chat.
Well, they didn't see it, so how do they know?
They know.
Okay.
I'm telling you, if I could have pulled it, I would have. It's just a block.
You weren't trying hard enough.
I did.
Wasn't trying hard enough. That's what I like to hear. But you both have been on the show before, but just in case no one knows who the heck you are, what do you dabble in when it comes to the World of Warcraft? How long have you been part of said dabbling? And do you want to have any opening shout outs to resources or anything else that's out there? Public, going back to you on this one. Take it away.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Publik. I've been a Shadow Theory crafter and SimC dev since around Legion-ish. So most of the Sims you see coming out for Shadow Priests are all coming out of the work that we're doing here. And then, yeah, I help out myself and Antoine do most of the SimC work for all the Shadow Priest goodness. And yeah, there's a giant Git repo that DJ and I work on that we publish all these Sims to. And yeah, I literally live inside of SimCraft most of the time. Yeah, and that's me.
So wait, you SimC stuff, the GitHub, is that what you're a part of?
Yeah, so Shadow Priest Sims, we like to be very complicated with everything because it just makes things way more interesting. So we publish composite Sims for all kinds of different stuff, trinkets, Azerite traits, essences, you name it. And those are all published to a Git repo. And then DJ has a site that like shows it in fancy tables and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what that repo is for.
Okay.
I have it some. Yeah.
There's a lot here.
There's a lot
in this post. I'll make sure
there could be more.
Oh,
we dial back a bit.
Yeah.
Just because there. If you think about how many traits there are, how many trinkets there are, how many stat combinations there are, how many essences there are, and all the permutations of all those, we don't go full board. We could, but we don't.
It's always been an interesting thing to see how Shadow Priest does. I think you and the monk community do so much. Like the monk spreadsheet for like Brewmaster or Windwalker is ridiculous. And then Shadow Priest have a huge amount of stuff too. And everyone has a different little leveling amount of how much you put into it. But it's fun to see all the different ways that everyone sort of min-maxes and figures things out and does all the math and gets all that stuff out there for their community. Well, that's awesome.
It's a little frustrating though, because like I enjoy playing other classes. And then when their resources aren't up to snuff, it's just like, I don't want to do all this work just for an alt, you know?
So all that coagulates to the Warcraft Priests page that you also linked to me. Is that correct? A lot of that information.
All of that.
Yeah, because generally speaking, a bunch of numbers inside of a GitHub page isn't super easy to read.
Right.
So DJ worked to put those charts together to make it human readable if you're not like me and live inside of numbers all the time.
Human readable. Pretty? Human readable. I like that. How now we're gonna get in this more on the show later, so I'm not gonna get out of here without this stuff. No. But how about DJ? What have you been doing? We kind of Public kind of stole some of your thunder with that one, but what do you put together in WoW, and how long have you been doing that?
I've been playing Priest since vanilla, way back in the day.
Flex, okay.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't want to play Classic like we were talking about earlier. Like, I already did it once, not again. We just killed Mythic Jaina as my guild. We're a 2-day guild. We raid like 3 hours a week. Shout out to Leviathan. But I'm fairly happy that we got it. I was actually healing that pull. I wasn't even playing Shadow because one of our healers ended up calling out sick. But we got that on Tuesday.
Nice.
And then, yeah, but I mean, like, as far as like stuff with Warcraft Priest, like, Public pretty much covered it. Like, we worked together on a lot of stuff, and I'm starting to get more involved in the SimC aspect of being actually going to college for it. So it helps a lot. So hopefully I can contribute more so it's not so much on him and on Anshlin, because it's kind of just them for Shadow Priest SimC backend work, unfortunately.
You say back-end work, but then I can go over here to my desktop view real quick. And Shadow Priest DPS guide, Battle for Azeroth 8.0.
Oh, yeah, that too.
By this guy named DJ Rife.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. DJ Rife.
And you curate
that's
the Wowhead
That's
guide.
a side gig. Gig.
Oh.
I mean, I get paid for that, so, you know, I'm okay with that.
Wait, being a DJ?
No, doing the Wowhead stuff.
Oh, of course.
Nice. Yeah.
I like that. Is working on the back end of the new Wowhead stuff easier with the new layout, or
nothing changed for us?
Oh,
it looks so much better.
Oh,
like,
it looks
in
incredible.
love with this new layout.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
Actually, if you scroll back up there, that little screenshot that you had of those numbers, that's what's on the GitHub.
Okay.
That's not very easy to read, which is why I made the charts in the first.
Oh, is this racials?
Yeah.
Look at
If I can sim it, I've simmed it, right?
within reason.
Okay.
Because I think the trinket sims take what 9 hours ish to run.
Yeah. Shout out to Raidbots and Sari for all of the work that he does. We used to have to run all of these sims on our computers, and it would take weeks to run this stuff.
Oh gosh.
But now it's all done through Raidbots, and it's significantly streamlined than what it used to be, which means I can do crazier stuff than I used to. So like trinkets and all that kind of stuff.
I remember the dungeon sims used to actually take like a full-on week to just do one talent set.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we were doing what, like 5 or 6 different talent sets at that point.
I don't want to remember. I've blocked it from my memory. Legion was a different time.
Raidbots literally changes the game. It's fantastic. We use it for everything. Like, such a great tool. I'm so glad that somebody made it, you know?
Well, you bring up Raidbots and shout out, I'm just spamming Serial's little Raidbot face. You keep spamming it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But anyway, you bring up Raidbots, and it is a fantastic resource. So shout out to Serialios and everything he's done. Serial Man.
I just say Sari. I don't know.
Sari, yeah.
It's easy.
That's what he said at BlizzCon, so Sari.
But before Raidbots existed, there was Bayotorch that Twintop was putting together. So we've been gradually getting towards this cloud-based simulation work, and we finally, like, I guess, achieved that now. But credit where credit is due with what Twintop was putting together a few expansions ago, because that's where it started, I think. I don't think anything else RAR before then, but that was all on your own system.
Yeah, well, it's come a long way for sure.
Definitely. Like Twintop's approach was, instead of cloud hosting, like which that's what Raidbots uses, he actually had a server stack in his house.
Yeah.
And the only reason that development on it stopped is he moved to Australia from the States. Like, so he couldn't exactly keep it up all the time and then continue development on it. And
Twintop cloud.
Yeah, well, and then he stopped playing WoW as well. So
right.
I mean, he was doing, like, he was the solo theory crafter for Shadow Priest for what, 3-4 expansions in a row. And it was all him. Yeah, it was all him. And then now we have what, 20-25 people all working on it together.
We have a lot.
Yeah.
Well, don't toot David's horn too much, because now it's like one person becomes 24 to pick up what he was doing. But it was a huge differently time. You can go back to the old shows with Twintop on the show, and there's always one pinnacle figurehead that starts it all off, and then it's fun to see how it all branches out from there. So it's awesome that you guys have like a great team, figure everything out. And to go backwards in time a little bit, I want to sort of do an ode to Surrender to Madness. So how has the Shadow Priest changed over the years? DJ Mist's forward in the new talent system we have right now, and potentially, at least based on my feels craftiness, the last time we will have these talents in the game, or at least the MOP style talents. We'll see what 9.0 brings us. But do you miss any previous incarnations of the spec? If so, which parts maybe? Or
yes, actually, like one per expansion. It's changed every expansion how we play the class. Like in Mist, we were pretty much a straightforward dot class. We had Devouring Plague. We keep that on one target. We were great on council fights, and then we were kind of mediocre everywhere else. And then in Warlords, they introduced Clarity of Power. Then we had Dot Weaving, which was an exciting play style. It was different than anything we'd ever had before, but it was basically like a turret DPS. And then if you had like a bunch of targets, you could go the Auspicious build and just have infinite Shadow Orbs. But then Legion, they introduced Void Form. And on top of that, they had the whole artifact system, and we had Mass Hysteria. We had the Surrender to Madness problem. And it's just, since Legion coming into BFA, they fixed some of the issues, took a lot of damage out of Void Form to make it less punishing. But now Void Form just kind of feels like a button that you press, and there's nothing really special about it. It sucks. And honestly, there's no reason to keep going for higher Void Form stacks other than, some passive haste or crit, depending on what traits that you have. It's unfortunate. Public, what do you got, man?
Yeah, I would definitely kind of echo what you said. Shadow's been through a roller coaster of changes, I guess is what I'd say. I'm not sure we've ended up in the best place ever. I still think Shadow's a fun spec to play relative to others out there right now, but it's definitely lost a bit of flavor that we had in Void form with like Naifu and the artifact ability, Void Torrent and all that stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to scrap Void form going forward. It feels like it's one, just way too hard to balance, and then two, just not giving the player enough like risk reward playstyle that we had. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I really, really enjoyed Surrender to Madness playstyle. I doubt that will ever come back ever again, but it was fun while we had it. So yeah, who knows? So
you both bring up the Void form feeling right now. And during my testing going from Legion to BFA, that's the one thing I brought up. I've been doing every single expansion going on 3 in a row now. And I saw that they had sort of minimized the impact of what Void form was, where you just kind of like this builder spender. In that regard, you build up to it and then you plop into it. And like Void Eruption is fun and how they've messed around with that. But when they gutted so much damage from that PowerPoint, it was very jarring to say the least. But that goes hand in hand with just the insanity mechanic in the first place, that you are like a builder spender, and you were before everyone gets freaks out. You used to have combo points as Shadow Orbs. I don't know if you guys want Shadow Orbs back versus Insanity. So, but Public, I saw the grimace there.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't mind being unique with Void form, but I think it just has to have a purpose. Because right now all it really gives us is some haste and then Void Bolt, and that's basically it, which is fine. It makes the spec feel a little faster once you get actual gear and you can ramp up. But outside of that, it always felt bad to play without Void form. And the recent build just has you staying in it basically all the time anyway. So it just feels somewhat like it defeats the purpose of having Void form. If we go back to Legion, where like getting into Void form was like a really, really big deal, or you were staying in it for minutes on end, and there was this huge like ramp up point. Again, not a healthy thing to have for the game. It was hard to balance. It's still hard to balance, which I think is the crux of like some of Shadow's problems right now. Is they're having to tweak a lot of different knobs in different ways to make Shadow not brokenly overpowered or brokenly underpowered.
Right.
And it feels like they've just kind of struggled to find like, this is what Shadow should be good at, and it shouldn't be good at other things, or like, where's its niche and that kind of stuff. And I feel like the only way to really get that to that point is to remove Void form and be a bit more specific in what we want. Whether that's Shadow Orbs or something else, I'm not totally sure. But I think Void form needs some help, is what I'd say.
It sounds like, and I've heard this in some of the echo chambery feedback, is that Void form should just be your 2 or 3 minute cooldown. Make it powerful, make it impactful, and make it, because you don't have a cooldown really as Shadow Priest.
We got Shadow Fiend, yeah, that's totally a cooldown.
DJ.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is something to be said about having a spec in the game that doesn't revolve around its cooldowns.
Sure.
So like bringing a Shadow Priest for like consistent damage output would be a great like niche thing if it wasn't so like obscured by other stuff. But yeah, we don't really have many peaks and valleys with our cooldowns and stuff like that. They're pretty non-impactful, but it is nice to say, hey, we have consistent damage. We'll always do this all the time kind of thing.
Yeah, but like our DPS isn't gonna mess up if we drop a dot. You just put it back up and you go right back to where you were just fine. But like a lot of the problems with Insanity, like you said earlier, you said it's a builder and a spender. What are you spending? You're not spending anything. Like back in, I think it was Warlords Demonology, before they changed everything, right? I don't really remember. That kind of play style where you built up to meta and then you went into meta and then you spent, what, I can't remember what the resource was either, but you spent that and then you left and you were super powerful. You got access to powerful dots. I think it was like Doom, all this other stuff. That's what I wish that Void form was. Something closer to that, to where it's a shorter duration, but you are very powerful when you're in it, and you can specifically time it around things. That's one of the things that Demo was very good at doing. Those little tiny windows where they can pop it and just blow everything up, and then go back to just normally DPSing the boss.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think the problem with that, though, is like when you're not in that form, the playstyle still has to feel good. Like you don't want to feel like you're not doing anything, or it's like I'm just sitting here hitting whatever. It doesn't matter. Because that's totally what Surrender felt like before. Surrender felt great when you're in Surrender to Madness back in Emerald Nightmare and stuff like that. But for the first like 2 minutes of the fight, you could just AFK. Like it like didn't matter. So I don't want that either. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I definitely don't want that. This guy.
Yeah, no, Gorek has a thing he likes to do in chat on my Sunday shows. He's way too kind to the stream. Ridiculous, this guy. But that's all the shout out he gets. He doesn't get any more recognition than that. Just ignore him. Maybe he'll go away. It's okay. He smells funny anyway.
He's doing gift subs. That's a good thing. Good job, dude.
Yeah, but he smells funny though.
Yeah, but he's doing gift subs, so I mean, kind of balances out.
I
right?
think you did you both get gifted? Actually, I think I saw Public's name scroll by.
I got it, yeah.
But
thank
DJ,
you.
But it's because I don't have the beard.
Yeah. See, it's all shaved off. No. But
hey, my wife likes it short, so.
Well, I mean, there you go. Happy wife's happy life, right?
Yes. Definitely.
So I'm gonna bring over this page real fast. We're talking about Shadow Priest still, and now we're gonna look into 8.2 right now. So let me see. Auspicious Spirits now increases Shadow Apparition damage by 50%. Huh? How much was it before?
I believe it was 100% before. Yeah, they actually nerfed it twice on the PTR.
They did.
They brought it down to 70 or 75, and then down to 50.
And then,
if you actually go to like the Auspicious Spirits page on Wowhead and look at the change log, there's 2 changes on the 25th, and it's like an hour apart. And one says 75, one says 50.
Oh yeah, I see. Yep, there's the change log.
Yep.
It was 100% at the start of the expansion, went to 70, then went to 50. Yep. That is definitely how it worked. You also lost some damage in Shadowward Pain. Your damage coefficient went down by 9%, and your VT went down by 9% as well. So the thing that I have here in the notes is that right before this patch, the Crucible of Storms launched, and many guilds, both of yours included, mine somewhat, like we're going back in again on Monday. We're at like 28%, 12%. We're really close, but we haven't put a ton of time into it and of overall raid night. But decided not to go too ham, egg, and cheese croissant on the Restless Cabal and Unot. However, we did see the huge spike in Shadow Priest on the Race to World First in that regard. We did see that the comps were very Shadow Priest forward, I would say. And I think the overall community knows why that happened. But what have you guys picked up in the corners of the game? And is the whole, what this nerf is, this retuning, is that like a slap on the wrist? Or is that a real attempt at trying to nullify the huge strength that obviously Shadow Priest was in that kind of an encounter? So, Public, what have you discerned?
Oh my God. Didn't do anything.
So the first thing I'll say is Blizzard's nerfing a spec for a problem that's more because of a fight design and not a spec. I don't think Shadow necessarily excels at like all the things in the world that make him so great at Cabal or fights in Desire lore as much as it is Blizzard just designed these fights just giving Shadow Priest everything they could ever want to be powerful. Every time you give us like random ads throughout the fight to just let us get a ton of Twist of Fate uptime, it's just a free party for us, especially when it's like targets that just range can hit and not melee. You're just asking for trouble. So it somewhat hurts me to see that we're getting nerfed because of fight design stuff. I would rather them just have more balanced fights. Say like, hey, this fight is a specialty that doesn't work for Shadow, but you have like this boss over here that you'll be great at, or something like that. But yeah, unfortunately, this nerf, I don't feel like we're going to see much of an impact from it, except on these extreme edge cases like Cabal, or like Council type fights, where we do rely on a lot of Auspicious Spirits damage. Because I think right now in those kind of fights, you're looking at 20% ish of your total damage. So yes, we're going to take a hit from that, but it's important to note that we're still going to do a lot of crazy damage on Council fights even after this nerf. So the thing that bothers me the most about it actually is that this hurts Mythic Plus more than anything. I think we're getting nothing compensated from this for, let's say, like a single target perspective. Like, yeah, Shadow Apparitions weren't the best on single target. Our dots weren't the best on single target, but they still impacted. So now one of our weakest sets, Mythic Plus and single target, are both getting affected from this. and there's nothing being compensated from that.
That's why we're running Shadow Crash now. That's the compensation.
There is that. We crash. I'm hesitant to say that we will, but we.
Oh, okay. I think he's back.
Did he cut out for you there?
He did for a moment. Yeah, Discord freaked out a little bit. Yeah, we're good to go though. But yeah, then DJ, then to wrap that up as well, because the other thing I have on here, because my numbers look different than what the show notes were. It was actually like the coefficient on Shadow paying went down to 18% from 22, and then the VT thing was probably the same. I imagine if it's the same relative spacing. But...
Well, originally it was an 18% nerf to Shadow Word Pain itself.
Oh,
and then they changed it. They split it in half and put it on both dots.
Oh.
So it's the same nerf. They just applied it to both because for whatever reason, like these changes feel very gut wrenching. Like they don't know what to nerf. And so they're nerfing the talent, not understanding that we're not taking the talent because of the damage. We're taking the talent because of the massive insanity generation that it gives us in these multi-target scenarios.
Sure.
And they're not addressing the true problem, that is the trait Spiteful Apparitions, which is the underlying damage source in all of these situations. Like I guess maybe they're trying to make the other talents in the row viable, but Shadow or Death will never be viable unless it becomes back as part of the actual base rotation. And Shadow Crash is just another button that you have to press where you have to place something on the ground. And unless you have a macro for it, you aren't going to do all that well. Just because you're likely going to lose your target when you click the ground or something like that. And it's a hassle to press, honestly.
So I'll bring up the tooltip for Spiteful Apparitions, which is your shadowy apparitions deal an additional amount of damage based on the eye level of the Azerite piece, of course, to enemies suffering from your vampiric touch.
There is also a hidden aspect of that trait.
Oh, do tell.
It does less damage if you have Auspicious Spirits equipped, and does more damage if you do not. And I think they put that in a blue post some way back. And they just recently changed the amount that actually is to compensate for the
I think like right now it's effectively almost doubling Auspicious Spirits damage with that trait active, which is just insane to think about, right? And that's why you'll see all like a very high percentage of our damage right now coming from Auspicious Spirits. That will still happen in the next tier. They haven't fixed, like DJ said, the reason behind that. Although because of essences, we've somewhat devalued that trait for another one instead. So it's somewhat being fixed tangentially because of it. But yeah, Auspicious Spirits will still do a ton of damage. I don't know. The traits are kind of all over the place.
That's the weird part about it. I don't know why. Maybe it's easier for them to tune, because we talked about this before at the start of the expansion. How will Blizzard adjust outliers? Will they adjust the Azerite traits themselves? Or will they adjust the core of the spec itself? The fact that Azerite trait has two different values, one with or without the talent that buffs the same ability turned on or off, is a little bit nonsense that it doesn't actually tell you that, and you had to figure that all out yourselves, math it out.
Yep.
I guess, but...
And the worst thing is it's not even correct in the game. It's wrong.
Wait.
It doesn't match. It doesn't match the numbers they say.
You're telling me a tooltip in World of Warcraft is wrong?
It's not even in the tooltip. It's in the patch notes, and it's not right. We've checked it. How many times? How many people have we had come to us and just be like, "This isn't right. This is doing weird damage."
Oh no!
Just about every patch, the numbers get reset or they break something, and we have to file a ton of bug reports, and hopefully it gets noticed because it just goes bonkers.
Well,
yeah,
at least we didn't make Shadow Fiend have 180-second duration. Just saying.
Who would do that? I don't know.
Is that a meme?
Yeah, we were implementing the Azerite essences for Shadow, and I think it's called Vision of Perfection. It gives you it spawns a Shadow Fiend for you. I accidentally had it spawn for how long the cooldown is instead of how long it should be spawned for.
Oh, whoops!
And so it was like a 30% DPS increase. It was really good.
I'm like, no, there's no way that's right. No way.
Not right. Turns out it's only 1%.
All right. So you brought up Mythic Plus a little earlier. I want to swing back over to that torrent of we don't know. I mean, we'll see. It's mostly like a weird range DPS versus melee DPS problem right now. And we've talked about this before on the State of Mythic Plus show a little while ago, as well as the melee shows that have superseded this one, that it's mostly because of interrupts and controlling the mobs in the dungeon, because you're still spending 70 to 80% of every dungeon in combat with trash mobs. So, Public, you actually have run some big boy keys on your Shadow Priest, but before the show started, you told me something that was a little bit different than I had anticipated. So, what do you do for Mythic Plus right now?
So I actually play my Priest when I can in Mythic Plus, but I also, since I like Mythic Plus, it's my favorite content in the game right now. I have a Resto Druid that I purely play just to push high keys. And get in on that aspect, because when you get high enough, Shadow Priest, most range DPS just don't have the utility that you need. And that's really the crux of the necessarily that like Shadow does bad damage. It's purely, hey, hello?
Nope, you're here.
Discord?
It's just
you're here. You're just kind of going robot-y for a second.
Yeah.
It's just that we don't have like a low cooldown interrupt. We don't have a stun. We don't have like whatever a Windwalker Monk or Outlaw Rogue has in terms of crazy burst damage. We have, again, great consistent damage dungeon, but it's if they I guarantee if they literally just gave Shadow and maybe an interrupt that was the same as everyone else's, we'd be fine. He's no problem. But until they solve the utility balancing, it's just going to go off.
Again, that's the weird. So that's it's funny to me because the whole interrupt problem is weird, but then you have a silence, which is a good amount of CC, but it's only one target versus what Boom can have, which is an AoE silence. You do have Mind Bomb, and you do have a single target stun in the form of Psychic Horror, but that's all talentable, whereas you're competing with things in the Mythic Plus scene that are all baselined abilities, which may be the tough sticking point. But
yeah, I mean, like Mind Bomb was great in Legion, but in Legion they changed it to be a fear instead of a stun.
Disorient.
So like, and the last thing you want when you want to stun things is they all go running. It's, I mean, that.
Well, they don't run. They stay in place, but also you are like super cutting in and out again. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's on my end or it's on yours, Bay, but.
Oh, there he goes. He's back. Who knows what it is? Everything different. Again, this is the guy that actually, you'll see it in the thumbnail chat. He's the guy that actually surrendered to the void in his thumbnail for the show. DJ's just in a tux, looking incredibly handsome. But this guy, tempting fate here. That's why his Discord is going crazy. But, or also the beard is too great. The interwebs can't process it. That could be a thing. But DJ, do you have anything you wanted to add? I guess the other thing I have on here is, will beguiling change anything? Because without the AoE part of it is an interesting point right now, where reaping is a big part. 4 or 5 times you have to reap, and then you're dealing with that whole thing. But at the same time, beguiling, that goes away completely. So we're back to sort of like the standard status quo with like these big mobs that you either ignore or walk away from or pull out of the whole group. So maybe with AoE not being as big of a deal, you think anything's going to change?
Not good, I don't think. I mean, I think it really depends on how they balance it. But again, it's still going to be a problem of we don't have an interrupt that's like low. We don't have an AoE stun, that kind of stuff. Shadow actually does pretty well on reaping right now based on our toolkit and our traits. You can do pretty bonkers damage with it. But so I'm slightly concerned with that. I mean, the biggest thing is how they balance this affix. I've seen some pretty conflicting reports on how it is, but I think, I mean, if Blizzard can get the tuning right and make trash a bit more single target heavy, Shadow might find a niche there again, because we can pump pretty good single target without sacrificing our AoE as much as other classes. But yeah, we'll see.
And as it continues, DJ just said his mic isn't working anymore now all of a sudden. So we're waiting to see. Discord gave you an error? Yeah, he's hitting it. Look at him. He doesn't know what's going on. Okay. It gave you an error. You have to go check in the settings. This is a Shadow pre-show. I tell you what.
N'Zoth has consumed everything. I don't.
Something is definitely. It took like a month to get to this show. I had a false start. Public's jumping in and out of space-time continuum lagging, and all of a sudden, TJ's mic just stops working. So that's just how this is going to be. Unplug it and plug it back in. I don't think that works. He may have to rejoin the call. Discord is scuffed. It's not as scuffed as the spec. Come on. Yeah, let that happen real quick. I'll bounce over here. I can't even see where to change our server in Discord. I was going to do that to see if that fixes for... Oh, I can't do that. Discord error message. Yeah. Well, check and look at me for a moment. That's fine. Because my regions are not going to work. Let me go double check the regions of the show. They'll be a little bit wonky. But while DJ gets that fixed, Beguiling looks weird. Starts on the 9th. So we'll see if anything changes to the Mythic Plus meta. But
yeah, I'll be there day one to try and figure out what happens. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yep. Kib, quiet you. This episode is as buggy as spiteful apparitions.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. No, he has to, he's restarting his whole system right now. That's totally fine. But this is the question I was going to throw to DJ. So I have to wait, I suppose, on this and get back to him when he comes back on the show. But we can bring up essences now. And I can go over here to the Warcraft Priests post for information there. Oh, no. Is it on the GitHub? Where do you guys have the essences posted already?
It should be either link would have it that I sent you. The charts page, warcraftpriest.github.io, will have it.
Yeah. Oh, major and minor. There we go. There we go. So yeah, if I go back to the 4 camera, there's the black void where DJ is.
Yeah,
he's
just gone.
He's just sucked into the darkness. Oh, there he is.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. Let's see if he's come back to us. And we can go over essences. That's like the big part about, I think, where everything we want to be listened to today is the essence changes on the on 8.2. So hold on while he gets back in here. I'm going to bring this over here.
I can sort of ramble too.
No, of course. Yeah, go over. There's a bit of a big disparity with some of these.
No, why would you say that?
I'm just going to bring.
What makes you say that?
Let me scroll down real quick here.
Yeah, I think like safe to say there's obvious outliers here, for better or for worse. They basically gave Shadow Priest a free like 12 seconds in Void form, and they're like, here you go. And that's what Memory of Lucid Dreams basically does for us, which brings us, it gives us, it's kind of like a Void form button. You're like, hey, press this when you need help, and there you go. Here's some Void form. So yeah, basically you're going to be using Memory of Lucid Dreams as a Shadow Priest for any kind of raiding stuff that you're doing. It's just so strong. I doubt that will change without a pretty crazy nerf to it. But yeah, we're not changing talents or anything. But yeah, and everything else kind of falls off after that. Minor essences are much closer together for us. But that being said, there's also kind of a weird, fun tidbit of one of our best minor essences right now is Blood of the Enemy, which comes from PvP. So if you want to, min-max your character to the highest degree as a Shadow Priest, you have to PvP. So, yay.
It is, well, not to, the show is happening on a Sunday. It's BG week this week right now.
It's a good week to do it, yeah.
You've got 2 days. You've got the rest of Sunday and Monday. And then
Everyone flood Battlegrounds. Right
yeah.
now.
I actually did a couple over the weekend. They weren't that bad. I won some, lost some. But, well, the one thing I wanted to bring up here, DJ, you back. Hello, sir.
Hello. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
No,
I don't know what you did, but you like destroyed my Discord mic.
It's expected with this kind of a show. You turned into a void on the screen. You just like a black hole on my regions. So, hey, it's all thematic.
Sorry. I realized because my mic was still working, I probably could have just restarted Discord, but yeah, whole restart. Takes 2 seconds. SSDs.
But because this note here is I was gonna give you a little kidney jab, but I know that DJ has all of the essences already plotted and posted on the Wowhead guide, and if anything is missing, then hold it to him in Discord. But
by all means,
we're going over essences, and I'm sure like it's a bit.
I'm pretty sure I got them all.
It's a bit, we're still getting there. You guys are going to figure it all out because things might change in the future. But what we have here and what Public was saying is look at Memory of Lucid Dreams, really, really good, as well as the Condensed Life Force, Guardian of Azeroth. Both really good. Now,
Yeah,
the funny thing
a lot
is,
of these are kind of like depending on how they actually work because we're just now starting to get these on, like our hands on them and like raid encounters to see how they'll work. But I think Lucid, like for sure, raiding will be using that for the major.
Like people have been saying they get like 50, 55 stack void forms with Lucid Dreams, which is insanely good.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, granted, not a whole lot of damage is in void form anymore, but that's still a nice chunk of damage. You're going to do more than somebody that's getting just their normal 35, 37 stacks on a pull.
Mm-hmm.
So, plus all that crit that you get after is just so
nice. That's the big thing with it right now. One of our Azeroth traits, Course of Insanity, gives us crit multiplied by how many stacks that we had in the previous void form. So basically, if you're like going crazy with a 50, 55 stack void form with Lucid, afterwards you get a huge 55 stack Course of Insanity, and which means until it expires, a lot of your stuff is critting and doing crazy stuff, which has great synergy with Blood of the Enemy as well. So that everything is kind of like playing off of each other, which is going to mean for a lot of damage for Shadow in this patch.
The weird thing here, I was going to go back up, and all of this stuff is, of course, all earnable in game. But for those that don't know, the Memory of Lucid Dreams is definitely a bit of a grind, considering that you need rank 10 on all of your three.
No. One.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
So the achievement reads weird, but if you actually look at it in game, it has because I have rank 2 and I'm working on rank 3.
Okay.
And as you are working towards rank 3 for that achievement, it has a bar going to 6,000. So you just need to get 6,000 experience on that bodyguard on one. Don't change, just one.
Okay.
It takes 20 days every day, and you'll get it.
All right.
So before Mythic Week,
Right.
I mean, I think we did get kind of lucky. I feel like of all of the essences, it's the easiest one to farm. Because I think like the raid one and the Mythic Plus one is like weeks upon weeks of farming stuff just out of the weekly box and stuff. So I think it worked out pretty well for us. I'm not sure what other classes are looking for, but I mean, I'm happy with the results outside of the PvP stuff. But
I wanted to bring up that you guys have listed here as another option with Guardian of Azeroth, which is basically just a 3-minute cooldown, which is it's way up there for enhancement as well, because it gives enhancement, which is a spec that doesn't really have a 3-minute cooldown. Ascendance is fine, talented, but Ascendance or Wolves are both kind of But having a actual 3-minute cooldown is a big deal for enhancement. So it's funny that we talk about the beginning of the show about how you guys don't have a real cooldown anymore. But this Azerite trait that gives you a real cooldown is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think like honestly, outside of Memory of Lucid Dreams, the balancing on essences is pretty solid. There's a lot less discrepancy than we had with Azerite traits, so I think there's that. Like, if you're not crazy about farming specific content or like, oh, I don't want to do battlegrounds or something like that, the next best option is very, very close to that, with like the exception being Lucid. Lucid's like that one thing. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these are kind of, I guess what I'd say is kind of boring outside of that too, though. Memory of Lucid Dreams, you definitely get some interaction with your playstyle, but everything else kind of feels like set it and forget it kind of spells, which, I mean, it's just not super exciting, but I'm not sure what else to look for since we already have Azerite traits and we also now have essences. Yeah. It's just a lot going on for sure.
It's just that overlapping systems like we had in Legion, because we had Legion, we had all the artifact unlocks, and then we had legendaries. Now we have Azerite trait unlocks and the combinations therein. Now we have essences. So it's just that 2 layers of customization on top of your talents.
But to be honest, one of the best things they did with 8.2 is removing the Heart of Azeroth, like the neck. I can't pronounce Azeroth right now. But basically removing the requirements on traits so that on the new raid pieces, you don't have to rework to get stuff that you've already had. That's really nice. Like, I like being able to work towards my steps on my essences because it gives me a goal to work towards that yes, I'm going to hit 55 before heroic week because I'm pushing to hit 5 before heroic week. I don't need to get like 62 or something ridiculous and spend literally all of my free time playing this game. Like I can put in, it takes me like an hour to clear the entire board of world quests on my Shadow Priest, and then I can do some islands, I can do something else, I do my dailies, and then I'm done. And then I can log off. It's like 2-3 hours out of the day that I spend doing that. And then I have the rest of the time to go play other games that I enjoyed, like Path of Exile or Overwatch or anything else. Or play an alt if I want to. I like that.
Yep. No, it's all, they're all definitely, it gives you the goals. I did the other day when I was taking my day off and starting to really feel sick, and I'm coming out of the woods now, but I think I played like off and on like 15 hours between Friday and Saturday just on my Demon Hunter. I'm not even, there's so much stuff to do right now. And just the grind, but Public.
Well, it's like, yeah, but the thing is though, is you don't have to.
Sure.
You can choose to do it.
I
and
have
like,
to do
yeah.
it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
choose
yeah,
to do
I get
it.
it. No, I get it. I choose to do it. I get that. But it's like I mean, granted, you never have to do the grind in the first place. Nobody's holding a gun to your head. But if you want to play and be the best, that you possibly can be, don't let your guild down, or heaven forbid you're in like some world first chasing guild and you're putting in insane hours across multiple characters. Yeah, then you have to. You don't really have a choice. You have to do all the content, all the meaningful content that'll get you towards your goal. But I like being able to put in like 3 hours a day and have meaningful progression, and people that have more time can put in more, but they're not going to get that far ahead of me, which is fine in my book. Now,
the follow-up to that, before I get your just like your general thoughts on 8.2, which kind of been woven into all this, is that has the essence system, the major minor, and then soon to have the extra minor, and then maybe we'll see. You guys will update stuff in the future when you add in that 65 minor. But have they changed any layouts for talent diversity potentially, or any secondary stat changes, or does it just lock more in what you guys have found out? I don't know who has the math on this. Public, you want?
Yeah, a bit of both.
Do, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's so the patch for sure is going to lead us more towards haste in general. If those of you played Shadow Priest back in Legion, we were talking about cycles a lot, void form cycles. Memory of Lucid Dreams brings back a cycle mentality where basically you want to hit 20 stacks every time Memory of Lucid Dreams comes off cooldown. And to make that happen, you need a bit more haste than you typically would otherwise. So basically, our stats haven't changed that much. We still love haste and crit, but now we're somewhat favoring haste a bit more than crit now than we were before 8.2. So that's like, I guess, the big change there. As far as talents aren't really changing. The current ones that we're using now are just too strong to really swap out, especially considering like Lingering Insanity is so good right now. Surrender to Madness will hardly ever see any use because of that. It just plays off of Legacy too well. The one caveat to that is with the Auspicious Spirits nerf, there's a chance we might start using Shadow Crash for certain fights or maybe Mythic Plus. But again, I think DJ mentioned it earlier, Shadow Crash is only good if it hits your target every time you use it, whereas Auspicious Spirits hits all of your targets as long as you have dots on them, even though some may be over on crazy Africa or like whatever, it doesn't matter. So I don't foresee our talents changing very much. Looking at the fights going to the next raid, I don't foresee us using Shadow Crash very often, maybe on 1 or 2 bosses, but honestly, that's about it. And the only thing I'll say is our Azerite traits aren't changing too much either. We're still looking to get 3 Chorus of Insanity or 3 Spiteful Apparition, depending on what you can get, and 1 Whispers of the Damned, and everything else is kind of whatever you can get your hands on. What's actually great about the new raid is I think we have 2 pieces with the Overwhelming Power secondary trait, which I think it's busted for everyone that likes it, likes haste. So we're basically targeting the 2 pieces of Overwhelming Power. And I think there's at least 1 or 2 that have the new raid trait, Undulating Tides, which is simming bonkers high right now. Who knows if that'll actually go once we get our hands on it. But yeah, so we're actually looking pretty great as far as gear goes for this patch.
DJ, I'm looking at your Wowhead stuff right here as well. So sort of going through the Azerite traits and things. We don't have Undulating Tide on here just yet. I'm assuming that's because that gear just isn't tangible in the game. So I'm sure when you guys
correct,
you guys get that in your hands,
I can't share deadlines, but we have stuff coming out soon before the raid. Okay. So I have an idea of where things lie, and like we're still simming some new combinations because we sim certain combos, but we don't really publish charts on those. One, because it's hard to actually make charts for those because they're very specific, and I can't automate it like a lot of this stuff. But we'll definitely know where stuff is going to lay in the grand scheme of things. But to comment on one of the things Public said about us moving towards haste, that's only going to be the case if we're running the Blood of the Enemy minor. I think it's rank 2+ or rank 3, whichever one also gives us haste and has like the reduction in stacks consumed doesn't really matter. But
the haste is always good just for the cycle part of Lucid to make sure that you're hitting the same point every void form.
Well, I mean, we're gonna have so much crit from Chorus of Insanity, Blood of the Enemy, plus if the new raid trait Arcane Heart is actually any good, it's probably gonna end up giving us haste anyways, just because we'll be stacking it. But it could still be good. Like we have to test more. We're not exactly sure where everything is going to lay out because like a lot of this stuff, like the trait, the graphs, all those traits are in a vacuum, just like how Blood Mallet sims or hero damage sims. They do the traits individually, stack the traits, and then just do it overall. We try and take it a step further because we want to know exactly. All right, well, what if I wanted to run 3 Whispers and 2 shadowy or spiteful apparitions and then 1 chorus or something crazy? It could be good. It's not, but it could be. You never know.
It could be good, but it's not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. That brings me to sort of like a mid-showish plug here. And of course, I'll go over the end of the show again. Next Sunday's show, the current tentative idea, I'm going to wait and get some thumbs up from those that want to be involved. Next Sunday, I want to do a 8.2 sort of primer show with 2 or 3 additional Wowhead writers. I know I've got Word Up, Senpai in the wings as well, and then 2 more with him. And we're going to basically go over just like a whole menagerie of 8.2 stuff. And as more essences get figured out and sort of all the different things you can find, Wowhead actually right now is doing a pretty crazy daily update on sort of what's big in Najatar or Mechagon every single day to get like a cadence of how the stuff changes every day. Mostly a Mechagon thing because that rolls over all the time. So that's next Sunday's show. But I want to get your guys' general thoughts on 8.2 so far then. What have you been prioritizing in the game currently? Are you doing AP first? You go after essences first? You playing 10+ hours a day doing all of it? Public, I think you said something about that already. I mean,
yeah. I mean, if I'm not simming, I'm doing whatever else I can. So, I mean, my time is kind of split because I have to care more about getting the sims out so everyone can see stuff rather than progressing my own character, which is, do what you got to do sometimes. But yeah, for me personally, I'm prioritizing getting all of the essences I can possibly get just because they've been balancing and changing essences almost every week for the past month or so. And I'm willing to bet they're going to keep doing it. So I've acquired every essence that you can get right now. And that's basically my goal going forward. So, but yeah, playing 10+ hours is pretty accurate as much as I can. So at AP, I don't really care about it. It just kind of comes passively, like just doing the daily stuff for everything else. So I don't have to focus too much on that. So yeah, essences for me.
Side note on the AP, just as a button hook on that one. Obviously, do your islands for the week. You don't need to spam them, but do your islands to get your map because those were both buffed. And if you did not know, the actually Champions of Azeroth, the Magni World Quest Emissary, that was also ridiculously buffed. That's 2 huge bumps in your AP every week just to make sure you do those. So don't forget about that. But yeah, my Demon Hunter is almost 53. So and
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
I played a bunch, sure, but it'll be 54 before the Mythic Week, no problem. Or 55.
Well, like the 3K Emissary tournament are insane. Plus Paragon on top of that. Like, good lord, I'm getting so much AP. It's like I don't even need to clear the board, but I'm clearing the board because I want to do it faster.
Yeah.
But,
well, it feels. I think we're at almost like a balancing point where the AP chunks we see actually feel like, yeah. Because the beginning of the expansion, once you get to that certain breakpoint, you're like, AP just feels really bad right now. And it'll start to slow down again, but the gradual points from level to level right now, with how the rewards have been scaled up in 8.2, at least feel punchy to begin with and not really sluggish.
Well, did you see on the PTR what the original amount of AP was required to get to 55?
Like, it was over 540,000.
Yeah,
to go up 5 levels.
A look at that, and like there was a sheet floating around that I saw that list everything you had to do every week, and I'm like,
nope.
God, that's
how many more Souls runs does it take?
Public stuff. But yeah, hopefully they heard the feedback, obviously, in some regard, or they already had this plan to drop on us on Tuesday as like a surprise. But on 8.2, the change went from, again, it was 500,000 plus to go up 5 levels. Now, to go up 5 levels after 8.2 dropped on Tuesday, it's like 140,000.
Thank you.
It's a huge,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because you could easily, like, I think the max AP you can get a day without going spam too much is what, like 15K AP a day, which is totally doable in a 8-hour period if you really wanted to go ham.
Oh, I'm one character. How many characters you running? Anyone else out there running more than one character?
One.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm doing two.
There you go.
I mean, like I have my paladin that I play that I like to do like keys on, but that's really like it's just kind of like a throwaway alt that like, okay, I have nothing left to do on the priest today. Let's go do stuff. Like he doesn't have any essences or anything. Just I don't care. I'm not trying to push him, you know? Yeah. I'll catch up eventually. AK will help me out.
But what you are focusing on, DJ, you're focusing on that follower XP, the bodyguard XP, right? Gotta get that
every single day. First thing I do. The first thing I do is go to that new island that I cannot pronounce, but the one with all the Nagas. And yeah. But go grab my little tanky bodyguard and go and do my 3 dailies, and that's pretty much it. Then I just go clear the board of all world quests on Horde and Alliance Island. And then if I still feel like playing after that, then I'll work on actually like progressing the islands a bit more, but I'm not really sweating it too much.
I want to give a shout out, at least from what I was saying. Maybe it's because I play a lot of Destiny and Division on the side, so I like how those like loot loops work. But we now have public events in World of Warcraft, essentially, at least in Azshara and in Mechagon. We do have daily quests like we had back in the day, like mop style daily quests. There's only a handful. There's just a couple in Mechagon and Azshara every day. There's a little bit on top of world quests. And then they're also like essentially their daily quests as well, but they're yellow quests, the bounties that you get from a couple of the NPCs. So when you log in for a play session and you get all these like cascading things to do and they all kind of overlap in different areas, that feels way better than just like, oh, I'm gonna do a swoop, which you've had for the last 6 months. So I'm glad. I mean, maybe that's just my opinion, but that's sort of how I play the other games that I play. So it feels good to have that multi-levels of working towards a lot of different goals on top of essences, because you're working towards those at the same time too. Queue up for a battleground here and there. I did some Ashran over the weekend. That's pretty fun.
Well, so like from a casual standpoint, right? Like WoW almost has a problem now that Destiny 2 does, where in Destiny 2 there is so much to do every week. You have like over 25 sources of powerful gear, which is like the highest like power level you can get in that game. And then it just scales with your gear up to a certain cap. And they have the new dailies every 4 days, so you can kind of take a break. But that's just for like one character. You have to do this on 2 more. And it's just like, it takes me like a good 12 hours to do all my weekly stuff. And I'm just like, oh, I don't want to. But like the nice thing about WoW is they're not going full on like that. It's not quite as bad, but it still kind of sucks as a casual player. Like if you want to do all this stuff, but you just don't have the time because you got kids, job, school, whatever, you know, you're missing out on some content. I do wish that they did like a stockpile dailies like they do with Emissary Quest. That would be nice. Like somebody brought up in the Shadow Priest Discord. I can't always play every single day. Sometimes I got stuff to do, which was a common complaint about the daily system back in the day too. And it's like, what if I miss a day? Now I'm behind everybody else. I do wish that they would have gone and done that and just kind of rolled it over, you know? But
I think, well, the yellow quests, the bounties, like the pick up a bunch of this or pick up a damn 10 starfish, which I'm still doing because there's only like 3 on the map. They're just a quest. They last each day, as far as I know. The blue ones, of course, will reset every day, I think, on the soft reset. But there's a bit of that, obviously. But then again, of course, they want you to, should be a cadence of activities to do every day. And that feels good in the 2 new zones. It does show you the holes of the previous zones loop, which was world quests and the emissary, and that was it. So
yeah, I think ask me in a few weeks because, like, honestly, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it for now, but the problem is I feel like it's gonna get really annoying in a few weeks. Because like every day we're logging in, and today it's starfish, tomorrow it's seaweed, whatever, right? Like, I don't really care now, but I feel like I'm going to start caring in a few weeks. It's just going to be the same, like, repetitive stuff that we're doing. But, I mean, I don't know. It depends on what they do. Because I think, like, Mechagon, there's, like, new people that come into the town. I don't remember what it's called or whatever. Yeah. But, like, my loon was there yesterday. I think there are Tortolans there today. So, like, that kind of stuff is cool and neat to see. It's just how long until, like, is it 8 weeks before it goes back around in the cycle? Or, like, what is it? So yeah, who knows how we'll feel in a few weeks, but yeah, for now, I'll agree with you.
I'll give you part of that right now, but again, in a few weeks, we'll be flying.
True. Yeah, but I don't care what happens. If we can fly, I'll do whatever they want. Don't care.
Flying will make this new content so much more enjoyable. Like, there's a lot of quests that I've run into on the Naga Island where, like, one will send me all the way down to the bottom.
Yep.
And then the next one is all the way up top. Come on. Like, I don't even know how to get up there. Like, I gotta use my flight whistle.
It's fun to navigate some of the crevasses of Nazjatar and to see how layered it is. But once you can fly around it, you can just zip around the corners. It will it'll lessen the amount of time you'll do in that, because then you'll be working on, which I think is kind of Blizzard's teeter-totter on this. Think about this.
Yeah.
Once that kind of rep grind stuff is done and we're not doing all the stuff every day, we'll be on like the tier 3 to tier 4 essences, and that requires time elsewhere to get those, because if you haven't seen that tweet that shows all the tier 4 essence like graphics, animations, some of those look really damn cool. So they look really good, man. That's what
I will definitely be aiming for them as soon as possible. They look pretty sweet.
Definitely.
Yeah, like, and that's a nice thing too, is like you don't need to get the ring. It's like transmog. Like, you could just slowly farm for it. Yeah, and that's a great change. I don't like the change to where they made it like, even if you do all that work, if you don't have rank 3, you can't. Like, come on, really? Yeah, if I'm gonna grind that much,
yeah.
I'll tell you what though, I'm glad I'm playing a priest on this island, like on both islands, because there have been times I run off a cliff and I'm like, oh, update, okay, I'm fine.
Yeah, gliders. I will say that.
The rank 4s look cool, but I still miss the artifact colors and appearance changes from Legion. That was like my favorite thing. I loved all the weapon transmogs that we get all the time. So I wish we had more of that kind of stuff back. But I'll take the rank 4s.
I took a slight DPS hit so I can keep Naifu around. Like, it's fine. It was worth it to me because she still whispers things occasionally.
I think you just can't use her with a wand, I think, or something.
Yeah, or a staff, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. I think staves work, actually. I think they changed it. I don't remember.
Oh,
to transmog it over. I think they loosened all those. Yeah. You could go look. Oh. But it's funny you bring up Naifu. We'll bring her up in a little bit, but I'm going to take a moment or two here to jibber jab about some things and tell you about the show and how to support what I do here and to keep this show going, of course, and to give my guests a moment to walk away and take a break if they need to. But again, the big ways to support the show here. I'm wearing one of them. I haven't talked about this in a while. Fabelina's working on another design right now, and I bet you can't guess who it is. She has tentacles, and she's really cute. But this is the Battle Azerite Days shirt inspired by Gorillas by Fabelina. And if you want to pick up any of the apparel to support what I do here on the show, we have a ton of designs over on the Design by Humans page. And they've changed the layout a little bit. Now what you do, very simply, is you go through, and these are all the different layouts we have, and you pick which design you would like, and you click the design. Say if I'm looking at the same one I'm wearing right here, but I'm looking at it in the women's size because we have text or textless on these designs. But you click on the actual base shirt, and then you get this pop-up, this window, and then you can choose the style you would like to have the shirt in. And you can change the color depending on what kind of shirt you have. There are different colors fitted in each of them, and you can pick and choose and design it and colorize it however you'd like. But any of the waiting for it, there it goes. Any of the designs over on the Design by Humans store go to support what I do here. And if that's what you want to do, if you want to put my art stuff on your body, there you go. BlizzCon's clear on the corner. Go and meet me in one of my shirts. I'll give you a hug. Maybe. Depends. I may even sign it for you. People ask me to sign. I signed, what, 1 or 2 shirts last year? People bumped into me. It's pretty fun. But those are right there down below. And, of course, links in YouTube as well in the description box right down below the stream. If you're listening to audio only, the show also goes up on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play Music as well if you want to listen to the show audio. Or you can go just to FinalBoss.tv, and all the audio are right there. You can listen to it right in your browser. But the other main thing, of course, is a lot of what I do here is going to be changing soon. The background is changing. I'm setting up another room in my house, and that would not be without your support, first and foremost, to get me to the point where now I can work together with Corsair and Elgato. And Corsair is sending me a ton of stuff, and I'm setting up a whole bunch of a new PC setup and all of my new bits and bobs in my room. So if you need to look at anything else out there, and the whole slew of things that Elgato has put together or that Corsair has and all of the raw components, if you'd use the links down below to do your purchases there through either of those, then you will help me do what I'm here. So you don't have to throw money at me directly like GoRek did earlier, you madman. But congrats on all those gifted subs in the stream. But those go to support the stream as well if you're already thinking about doing something for yourself. And that's the best way to do it, I would say. Corsair just released 3 new mice the other day. Not just 1 or 2, but 3 new mice. So go give those a check if you need to. But then again, a lot of information we'll be talking about today on the show has been coming from and is coagulated and put up over here on warcraftpriests.com. They have all the stuff for Shadow Discipline and Holy, of course. So you can go check out Shadow Priests. Specifically, of course, that's the show today. And then we'll talk about Discipline. We're not going to talk about Discipline Priests until like the last thing in the expansion, because we want to make sure that every other healer gets all of their guffs out with all the stupid absorb stuff coming back and forth. It's whatever. Every expansion, we're like, it won't be that bad. And then it's, then it becomes that bad or something, or just almost bad enough with Discipline Priests. But we'll see. They're the last ones up. But go check out warcraftpriest.com for all of the priestly businesses. You can go jump into their Discord, of course, and keep up to date with all that stuff as well. But Public is back. He's still here. DJ is gone.
He's gone. The void has consumed him.
The void. Well, I mean, yeah, he is just totally. Look at it. He's gone. F's in chat for DJ. He has been fully consumed by the void. Oh, wait, nope.
He's back.
He's back.
Hello. Sorry. My cat's back from the vet.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, she's doing good. You can actually kind of see her over there behind the blue screen that's blocking my view of my living room.
Right. So this is the section of the show. If anyone in chat has any questions for DJ or Public today, then toss them into chat. We'll pick through them. I've got a whole bunch of canned ones here, but if you guys have any questions, now is the time. And of course, if you want to help prepare the show notes, you can follow along with the show notes if you're on Patreon to see how I put together the shows. But if you're in my Discord as well, I ask usually every Friday or Saturday before a Sunday show if you have any questions to toss them in, and that's what usually comes on this section. So you can just be in the show notes directly. But I guess the first question I have for you is, before chat catches up, I'll bring this up first now because you flip-flopped it. I'm going to bring this up on screen. Which is your favorite Naifu appearance? Public, you go first on this one.
Easily the PvP appearance. As much as I don't like PvP, that one's my favorite. It's like
this
I'm partial to the red one. You know, that kind of looks like fire with like the red book as well. I can't remember exactly which one it is.
The one with the eyeballs?
Yeah, well, I mean, they all have eyeballs.
Which color PvP? Just the overall? Because you got the purple. green.
I prefer the purple one. If I actually cared about PvP, I also love the white one, but that one was like way higher than I would have ever dreamed of getting. But yeah, the base purple one I really like.
You could still get this right now, but
I don't know if I ever will. We'll see.
no, no.
If Blood of the Enemy is as good as the Sims are showing it, then maybe I will.
And which one do you like, DJ? What one did you prefer?
I like the red one. I think it's a bit further. I was actually trying to pull up that page while you guys were talking.
Or which I guess
no, it's not. It's not PvP. That one. Further down. You had it.
Oh, is it the
one with like
one?
spiky?
Oh,
yeah,
the Talon of Nazoth.
No.
Oh, not
down.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the claw.
Yeah, that one.
Sorry,
stream delay.
A little bit of the Claw of Nazoth one. Yeah, this is the Il'gynoth drop.
Yep. I got it in LFR actually, and
of course
I got it the first week.
And, I did not get the first. No.
Yeah, it was like I didn't get any loot off him, which I was upset about because I think he had a trinket or something that I wanted. I don't remember, but I got that and was stoked because nobody else had gotten it yet. So yeah, I was pretty happy.
I just want to point out that even if they nerf Shadow Priests and you have this weird relationship with Blizzard Balance this whole time, your artifact is a key story player right now. She was just in the recent cinematic.
That's why we're so strong right now. It makes sense. It makes sense.
Oh.
We figured it out.
It's not my war chief, just saying.
I don't know if they have any correlation there. But it's fun that we get to use it. Yeah, you have to go log in when next time you log in, DJ, to see if you can transmog Naifu over anything. Because I'm pretty sure you almost can transmog anything over anything now, weapon wise.
I think I'm actually using it on my staff, but I'm pretty sure you still can't do it over a wand.
Oh,
I think like wands can't go to daggers or something. I think it's the only stipulation.
You know what was super annoying?
Different slot, yeah.
And I think it's still in the game. Is to where like because everything's personal loot now. If you get like a wand that drops and it's your highest item level,
sure.
If you then get a dagger at the same item level, you can't trade the dagger because you have the wand because they don't count. They're different classes. Yeah,
Slot
and it's stupid.
Yeah.
Same thing with stabs. So it's like I have like 4 or 5 slots in my bag with high item level weapons just in case I get something so I can trade it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish they would fix that. It's annoying to me.
How about, what is this question about a specific 400 eye level trinket? We talking about the punch card?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna get nerfed. No, it's not the punch card. The punch card is very strong, but the inscription trinket is like 30 item levels over budget right now.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, actually.
So if you have some spare gold and it's not very expensive on your server and you want to play around with it, help out a local inscriptionist near you. No, it's upset. Like it's a 400 eye level trinket. It's I have to say something. It's like a random like damage proc trinket, and then it gives you a haste buff, and the haste buff is up basically 100% of the time, which is great for Shadow Priest. And I'm assuming lots of other classes. So, yeah, there you go. I hope it does.
What is this trinket called?
Highborn Compendium of Storms.
Oh God, I don't know what this. I gotta look this up. Highborn.
If you actually go to our trinket sim page, it's on there, and you can see it definitely higher than it should be.
Okay, your spell. I'm bringing it on the screen here. Yeah. So what? The spells have a chance to conjure a typhoon that travels towards the enemy, dealing nature damage, and grants you some haste for 15 seconds, up to an amount of haste.
Yeah, so basically, it's very easy to stack it up. Apparently, the proc rate's out the wazoo, and you'll get like 100% uptime of like the haste buff over the course of a raid boss.
Now, is what is over budgeted the damage of the tornadoes or the amount of haste you get? Because 256 haste doesn't seem.
I mean, like 256 haste doesn't seem like a lot, but when you compare it to something like Sliver, which is less stats, I think.
Well, they had nerf Sliver though, too.
Yeah, but like Sliver is still really strong. I mean, like stat sticks are great, but I think the actual damage proc is doing like 4 to 5% like overall damage right now for us.
Yeah, that's what Kib said. It's like 5%. of his in BGs as destruction. Wait, but that's okay. I mean, sure.
Yeah, I think like single target we're like between 3 and 5% on like, and then you get the haste buff on top of that. So yeah, it's pretty over budget. I mean, like we won't use it over like mythic trinkets in the new raid, but if it stays the same, it'll be good going into mythic for sure.
Now
it's really weird that it's actually hasted RPPM. Normally, stuff with haste isn't.
Is it? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that's what Kim says. Sorry.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
The thing I wonder about this is when they built these trinkets and put their. This is getting a little inside baseball. So, all right, so hold on. In the 8.2 update, they changed some of the architecture behind the scenes. I'm sure public has seen all of this now with how trinkets are scaling. And trinkets now scale off of their innate eye level and then your haste, verse, and crit. And if I'm not mistaken, the amount of haste, verse, and crit that gets taken into account is also raised based on the trinket's eye level to make sure that eye level trinkets that are higher and higher and higher keep staying relevant, and you're not using thing that's like 25 or 30 eye levels back just for the proc, right? Like some Fury Warriors using 385 trinkets right now, only have 425s in the game, right? So
I mean it's definitely part of it. Although I'm sure lots of people have noticed if you like try to sim your character right now with like a 385 like crappy trinket from like Waycrest or something, it's not going to look super good because you don't have a lot of stats yet. So and once you're in like full blown mythic gear, you're going to notice it way more. Right. But yeah, it definitely somewhat flipped our trinkets around a little bit, where trinkets that were like our best in slot are now less good than they used to be, and trinkets that we used to like never care about ever have suddenly be like shown some viability, which is interesting. I'm glad they're still trying to keep things relevant, but it was a very strange change to get in the middle of an expansion. So yeah, time will tell.
Yeah. Well, there are certain trinkets out there now that hopefully they don't stay too far. So my Demon Hunter got lucky enough. I have a 425 Kimbles, and Kimbles, the proc that does the bleed, is haste at RPPM, right? It's X times your haste. But because Havoc gets 200% haste during meta with Furious Gaze stacks, the Azeroth trait, Kimbles just stays up. It just procs and procs and procs and procs. It's like 5 or 6% of my damage all of a sudden, where before it was like 2 to 3. So it's almost doubled. So they did this.
See, that's icky.
Like Shadow gets a bunch of extra stats too, which just shoves damage trinkets way up there. Because I mean, it's very common to sit at like 90% crit in Shadow, and then have like 50%, 60% haste outside of Lust normally. Like that's.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest concern I have is just where our good trinkets are. It's like, for example, if Kimbles is brokenly overpowered for Demon Hunters, are they going to have to still farm Battle for Desire lore throughout 8.2? That sounds not fun. So hopefully they figure that out, because I don't mind doing like dungeons and the new raid, but I don't want to have to keep farming Crucible, for example, for the brokenly overpowered trinket that Shadow gets from there right now. Who knows if that will still be a thing or not, but...
Apparently, Kona has been summoned. Hello, sir. Welcome to the stream. He's right there. Boink. He was on the show last week. If you missed the Restoration Droid show, it's on YouTube already. You can go check it out. But it's a good and bad change, because there was like a lot of, for those that on the outside don't know how trinket scaling work, you're always like, well, why is this trinket better than that trinket? But once you know how it all worked, trying to re-baseline the math and the eye level scaling, and then it's always haste versus crit now. Your mastery doesn't focus into anyone that has any mastery scaling. If you're wondering, is my mastery scaling my Azeroth traits or my essences or my trinkets? No. If it is, it's a bug, because your mastery should never impact those. Otherwise, I'd be using caster trinkets, because enhancement on mastery is all elemental damage. But anyway, so that's a good change. But under the hood, I wonder if they slapped this in after they had made certain trinkets have a certain baseline amount. Like, should this compendium have 6 RPPM now, or should it have had it before the change?
Yeah,
because now it should have like 2 and then modified by your secondary.
Or maybe they should make it like 425 eye level and cost a few more resources.
To make it more expensive.
I don't know.
We'll see. You're looking forward to farming Mythic Jaina the whole tier. I mean, if you're farming Mythic Jaina the whole tier, you're getting your guild mounts, at the same time. You got to get those watery boys. So
yeah, her trinket went from like our worst trinket in the game to like our third best.
So we killed Mythic Jaina for the first time on Tuesday, and I bonus rolled the 425 trinket.
Of course,
you first kill.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten the trinket like 4 or 5 times now on Mythic, and I've given all of them away to like healers for their DPS off specs. I'm like, this trinket is terrible. It'll never be good. You can have it. I don't care.
Yeah.
And well, whoops.
But
it's like a lot of the questions that I've seen this week since all these like big changes are like, should I restore this? No, don't. Just go farm it again to save your restore for when the raid comes out, because you got like 30 days where you can't restore something. And with how Blizzard likes to randomly balance everything in the middle of a tier, or however they feel like doing it, we don't know where things are going to end up shaking out. So yeah, save it. PSA, please save your item restore.
So this is a little bit of a side question here coming in. Do you remember needing mind vision in instanced content? I've been using Farsight in Najatar War Mode to scout out if they're a horde, because there's so many. But I don't know. When's the last time you guys used mind vision? DJ?
I actually use it
or Public,
regularly.
Regularly.
Waycrest Manor.
Waycrest Manor. Yeah.
Yep. You use it. You can use it before the timer goes out, and you can check which doors open.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shadow Priest OP confirmed.
The only thing I've ever heard of a use for it.
Yeah. Before that, no. I didn't even have it on my bars.
Bring Shadow Priest to Waycrest keys.
Yeah. Best
like
DPS, for sure.
I've used it in like BGs occasionally, but most of the time it's just why didn't they prune that ability, and why did they get rid of Shadow or Death?
Right.
Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We know when I read that question, I thought he was talking about mind control at first. I'm like, Jaina?
Well, Jaina?
That whole fight? Yeah.
Not if you're Public.
You don't need it for Jaina. You don't need mind control for Jaina. This is a shout out to all the other Shadow Priests out there. Tell your guild you don't need to mind control anymore. You just kill the ads. It's fun.
I zoomed in on you for someone wants to clip that for
You're welcome.
Discord. There you go.
Well, here's how you get around doing it as a Shadow Priest.
Oh.
You make your other Shadow Priest go healer and have them do both. That's what I did.
It's almost like you've seen the show notes, because my next question is, when you have to heal or choose to heal, what spec do you heal as? Now, we already know Public already turncoats and plays Resto Druid.
It depends for me. If I know the fight, I know the timings in the fight, I'll play Disc. As long as, I have the right gear and traits for it. But if I don't, I'll just play Holy. Holy does great numbers just as well as Disc. A lot of most situations, especially if your other healers don't know how to play around a Disc Priest. So, like for Jaina, I did it as a Holy Priest. And because I was replacing Resto Shaman, we didn't have SLT. And I didn't feel comfortable going Disc just so we could have Barrier. But we did fine. We didn't even die. So, hey. Although, no, we killed the boss with one person alive, which is the best kind of kill.
We've definitely had that kill before. Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, as you said, I'm Resto Druid boy. That's what I do most of my high key pushing with these days, just because it's easy to get in a group as a Resto Druid, and Resto Druid utility is out the wazoo right now. And it's actually really fun to play. I enjoy it a lot. I haven't done too much raid healing on it. But yeah, usually if I'm healing, I'll do that. I can play Disc pretty well if I need to. I'm not like an expert in anything, but I can make things work. I can at least hit Smite or something. I don't know. Yeah.
I can at least hit Smite or something. I don't know.
Yeah. See, okay, that's why I just play Resto Druid, because then I can just go cat form and like put F-Flow up, go into cat form, and that's it. It's pretty great.
I know this is a Shadow Priest show, but can I give a shout out to Disc Priest and idiots that don't understand how a Disc Priest works? A Disc Priest heals by DPSing when they have atonements out. That's generally how it works. And there have been several times that I have seen people like complain to a healer, like I've received it, stop DPSing, you need to heal. I am healing. Like, what do you want me to do? Fine, I'll shadow mend you. And because, you totally needed to be topped up right then and there. But, yeah, that is one of the things that's most frustrating about Disc for me. is dealing with the community perception of how discs should play.
How about, do you have any thoughts on the Air Asterisks' supposed allied race leak for the Alliance, which would be the Lightbound / Light Forged Forsaken, and how they could possibly be Shadow Priests?
I mean, maybe we still have Power Word Shield as a Shadow Priest, which is like, I mean, it's kind of light-ish. I don't know. I think priests generally fit the theme of most classes or most races, so I wouldn't be surprised. I think it'd be really cool if this leak is correct, which I don't know if it is or not. I think it'd be pretty sweet if the Light Forge, like Undead or Forsaken or whatever, becomes Shadow Forsaken when you spec into Shadow. Like that'd be pretty sick. Like if you have like whatever racial ability you have that's like whatever, it's light themed. Yeah. When you go into Shadow spec, it'll change to Shadow themed or whatever. Like that would be super slick.
Well, that's a different part of the supposed leak. Public, you're getting into the whole prestige skins coming into play in 9.0. Apparently, that's a different thing. But exactly. Well, that's what chat brings up, because Lightforged Draenei can be Shadow Priest.
Yeah, they don't care about lore.
Well, yeah, I don't understand. It's like when Paladins were first allowed on the Horde side.
Sure.
I think, yeah, for like way back in the day, and like people flipped out because Blood Elves can't be Paladins. No, that can't be a thing. They don't follow any of that. Or no, was it a Torrents? Sorry, but yeah, like
Sunwalkers though.
Yeah, I know, and they try to explain it through the lore, but they've retconned so many things over the past couple of years. It's just lore's out the window at this point. Like it doesn't matter. Like we have pandas in the game. It doesn't matter.
Hey, pandas have been in the game since Warcraft 3. I'll have you know.
I understand that, but they were not mentioned once until Mott. That's the thing.
Yeah, but when can I be a Tuskar? That's what I want.
No, Volpera.
Tuskar.
I want to be a fox.
No.
No, well, wait. What race is a Hogger? I want to be Hogger's race.
A Gnoll?
He's a Gnoll, yeah.
Yeah. When are Gnoll going to be an allied race? Like, come on.
Well, apparently, according to this crazy leak, Alliance getting the Light Forged Forsaken, and Horde are getting some weird, like, animal race that uses the Worgen skeleton.
Well, you're not talking about that 4chan leak, are you?
Of course.
Like a bunch of Diablo and Overwatch stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, God. The one that was like, oh, Reaper's gay and everything else, and this is going to change Overwatch 2, and yeah. Please.
Yeah, of course. Hey, it's on the internet. It has to be true.
Absolutely.
But Northern Man asked this huge wall of text in chat. We talked about the whole void form thing earlier in the show and suggesting that. I don't know if one of you wants to dig that apart potentially. I'll put it in Discord if you want to go through that one.
Yeah, this is similar to kind of what DJ was mentioning before about like kind of being able to control when to get into void form.
Right.
I think like that would be my biggest thing with this is as long as void form isn't like automatic, like it just happens when you hit 100 insanity, because then you might just have to sit there and wait for the right time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they'll do something like atonement per se. That'd be interesting to see how they plan it out. You kind of like mark your targets, like kind of like Mark Shot was for Hunters and Legion or something.
Well, are we talking like, is this question talking enemies or allies? Because if you could buff allies damage, Shadow Priest #1, bring it to all content. Oh yeah,
I assumed it was enemies, but maybe you're right.
Yeah, like that would be awesome. Like, okay, I'm good with that. Like, we can keep void form if we can do this, because then we kind of go like towards like we're a support class. We do our own damage, but we also buff everybody else's damage in a way that you can't really see, like Windwalker or monks or demon hunters. How they give a buff,
but I want to
basically where you deal more damage. No, I understand that. But wait, are you saying that if you put Shadow Atonement on somebody, they become your underling, and you're just like, go do great things?
Oh, that'd be funny.
Yeah, that'd be. Great.
Yeah, I don't know how it would work. I guess like I'm a cynic at the moment, and like I don't trust Blizzard doing something crazy complicated and crazy because it's just going to be hard to balance again. Yeah, but maybe that's just me. I mean, like I would honestly be fine with like, hey, give us Devouring Plague back do some flavor of Shadow Orbs again, and like let's try that again.
7 Shadow Orb cap, just
7.
so we feel lucky.
There you go.
Yes.
I don't know.
Talking about
Like,
Shadow Orbs. Well, I wanted to ask if you could bring it back in the next patch. Would you want the Emerald Nightmare phase of Surrender to Madness back in the game?
Absolutely. Heartbeat.
Yeah.
I'd take it back. 100%. Especially the part where we're 20% ahead of everyone.
Yep. And we're dead and we're still 20% ahead of everybody when the boss dies. Yeah,
okay.
Perfect. I want to get my triple void torrent again.
What I didn't like was in Raid, I had to play like calming, relaxing music to keep my heart rate down. Otherwise, when I was doing like 2-minute void forms, I could feel my heart pumping way faster than it probably should have. So I had to slow it down, which is funny. But
Wait, you had to do slow music? Oh, dude, I played Scatman. Like that got me in the jam. Yeah, I was in the zone.
Yeah, I would 100% take it back within an instant, especially compared to the current iteration of Surrender to Madness. Yeah, I'd take the old one back for sure.
It is funny how they nuked that talent from Orbit.
Well, I mean, granted, we both understand it's super overpowered. It needed to get nerfed. Like, even like when you were doing beta testing in Legion, like we were as well, and we're like, hey, this is really overpowered. You should probably fix this. And nope.
Yeah, the caveat to that is that I was testing it, and I'm obviously more attuned to melee specs. And if I could get that many stacks back in Legion beta, and I could do this on the crappy pre-made characters in like blue PvP gear, I immediately thought this is not going to go well, because real players that know what the hell they're doing are going to abuse this wholeheartedly. And lo and behold, there we go.
It happened. Yeah, and then mastery stacking was a thing, and going Saint Lane, and just nailing that 2-minute or the 3-minute.
Was it 3 minutes? Yeah, I forget what it was.
The 3-minute surrender was the goal. Especially when you were running Saint Lane and like a fight like Botanist, if you could pull off a 3-minute surrender on that fight, you skyrocketed on DPS, and it was fantastic. It's a shame though, because not a lot of people could do that just because they didn't have the gear. Like they may have had the skill, they just didn't have the gear required to do it, or the latency, because you needed like 20 ping.
It's what Kib brings up in chat. You need the boss average time to die weak aura, so you could time your 3 minutes to the end of the entire encounter, basically. But then
it was fun.
Yeah, I still use that weak aura too, because it's like you don't want to dot stuff with vampiric touch if it's not going to live long enough. So it's just like, so it's still kind of useful, but like there were times though that you couldn't use that.
Yeah,
like you had to think about a fight like Ursoc was generally a 5-minute fight on Mythic, and you had to know like, okay, I can use Power Infusion here, and it'll be up halfway through my surrender. So, yeah,
or you bloodlust at the end of the fight, and it like throws the timer off or whatever.
That's why you lust before the fight, so you have the debuff, and then you pop your own drums.
Stop! Don't talk about that nonsense.
Wasn't that the strat on Jada?
How about do either of you expect any more nerfs or rebalancing to Shadow Priest during the new raid when they come out? Because you said that these adjustments they just gave you on Tuesday are barely even noticeable. So do you expect more? You think more, Public?
I would say they're either going to change how some fights are tuned, or they're going to fix some of these essences. I don't know if they'll be like Shadow specific nerfs, because again, it's very hard to nerf Shadow in just multi-target cleave without it killing the rest of the spec in like single target or Mythic Plus dungeons and that kind of stuff. So I don't. If I was Blizzard, I would not nerf them that way. I would instead look at maybe changing some of our Azerite traits, or maybe swapping around some essences and stuff like that. But who knows? I would expect at least another tuning pass to happen though.
Yeah. Now, with Public saying that yes, it might happen, DJ, what do you think they're going to adjust, if they adjust something, or what just should they adjust? If you had to put your post-it note on the guy's monitor at Blizzard right now, don't touch this on Shadow Priest, just touch this to bring us like in line, I guess. Because they're gonna just touch Shadow Word Pain and Vampiric Touch again. Then they're gonna lose your AoE damage even more than your what should they do?
Buff Mind Flay.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Okay.
Buff Mind Flay. Or Mind Blast. One of the two. Like, and if they buff Mind Flay, they need to buff Seer on top of it without making it too overpowered.
You're saying to buff those in to compensate for a nerf to the others, right?
Yes, because it's like if they're probably going to nerf Auspicious Spirits again, or Spiteful Apparitions if they actually pull their head out of their ass and nerf the actual problem. But it's just there's not much you can do with Shadow. Like Public said earlier, there's just so many knobs that if they go too far, we go into the dumpster. And if they go too far the other direction, we go all the way to the top. Mm-hmm. And it's a very delicate balance. It's a big problem with Void Form. And just the whole way of how, like, traits, essences, everything else, how everything plays together and how everything is really hidden to where your actual damage is coming from. So,
right.
Yeah.
Because your problem isn't spread cleave. It isn't crossed on, and that's what you've been excelling at forever. It's usually just when there's just a boss, because you saw with, at least what Method did, and to a degree the others, I mean, even though the world third Unot Mythic was a totally different team comp and none of us expected that, but they did it. We saw the Shadow Priest prevalence on a 2-target to 3-target boss fight. And then when they got to Unot, which was literally just the big squid boy, they just cut almost all of their Shadow Priests but one, I think. So they were elemental shamans. Yeah. I
mean, like, it's again, the boss fights play such a huge role into balance these days. And I'm not sure. I don't know if, like, they haven't figured that out yet or, like, what they're going to do about it. But, like, for example, in the new raid, there's a boss. I forget his name. It's the giant fish. And you have to, like, swim between the platforms, or, like, there's some gauntlet.
Blackwater Behemoth.
Yeah, that one. Like, Shadow loses all of its damage ramp up when we have to transition platforms like that. So, like, Shadow's going to struggle during those parts of the fight when we have to basically re-ramp again. But what was so good about both Crucible and Battle for Desire Lore is those fights didn't really exist for us. So we were just steamrolling everything without downtime. So it's hard to... I don't agree with balancing a spec against a raid. I'd rather them do it the other way around. But yeah, we'll see. So I think, I'd expect something.
Well, I agree with that. It's like, if they nerf Shadow because of the overwhelming presence in the first boss that was in Crucible of Storms, because the top guilds in the world were stacking their class, like, top guilds in the world are going to do that. Don't nerf the class just because the top guilds are doing it. Like, recognize you fucked up. You made a mistake in counter design, not class design. It's like knee-jerk reactions to some of these nerfs. And it's just like, well, where's the compensation that we're supposed to have? So
I don't even know if it's a mess up point. It's weird because this fight comes out. I don't want to keep harping on this, right? I have one more question, then we got to wrap up. But this fight comes out. Obviously, certain specs play really well into this design of an encounter. And haven't Blizzard historically said before that they design different encounters to let different power levels of different specs shine? Because you're not going to shine on every single fight. If you did, you'd be Demonology Warlocks and Warlords, and they nerf you on purpose.
Yeah,
because
I think they actually said that they threw that out the window for Crucible. I think there was some Q&A with Ian or whatever where he was just like, we just designed them just to see what we could do for fun.
One
like,
designer
rules
did.
Out the window.
Both of these fights were designed by one person.
Yeah,
and they both slapped though. They're both really good, but yeah. Yeah, don't say the mess up. Who cares if one spec is be strong on one boss and fight on the rest and weak at one here and there? It's part of the diversity. Yep. Yeah, that's true. Well, no, because, I mean, DJ brought that back up again, too. I mean, I can go over here. Everything's going to be all over the place right now. But I could look up let's look up Warcraft logs, and let's still go back to DZA. Let's go back to Desire Lore, and we'll do some statistics here. Let's see what's going on with the 90th percentile. And I mean, yeah, you're right there, mostly on the nose there. This is obviously in the last 2 weeks, so things are going to be in flux with the new patch. But Shadow Priest is right in the middle in DZA. That's where you want to be anyway. That's where you know you're in the sweet spot. If you're in the middle, If you're in this block here in the middle, roughly, like 3 or 4 from the bottom and 3 or 4 from the top, you're not going to get attacked by Blizzard. So I'm right there with you. Enhanced Shaman and Shadow Priest are right there. If you're Destruction, Warlock, and Fire Mage for some reason, like Blizzard's going to be, oh, what's going on there? Or if you're on the very bottom here,
Yeah,
and you're looking
I mean, like it's all, like all the farm logs versus progression logs and that kind of stuff.
Of course.
I think like the crux. I mean, Shadow's a good DPS spec to have on progression. I think, especially now that we don't have Surrender, it was kind of iffy before. But I think like for that reason alone, Shadow will still be a strong range class to bring for Eternal Palace. Wow, blanked for a second. It's just not going to be a class that you're going to stack 15 of. Which I think is good. I mean, it's a good place to be. It's just not, it's not broken. It's not terrible. It's right where it should be, I think.
Yeah. But Frost Mages need some love. Hopefully the essences will fix them because they need some
just
love.
3-second frost bolts. That'll fix it.
No, Jaina took less frost damage. It's okay.
No, stop.
That accounts for everything.
Stop. So if you weren't playing a Shadow Priest, that you couldn't play them anymore in the game, they get removed, 8.25. They're gone. What spec would you play, Public? What would you switch to?
I would probably play Balanced Druid or just Druid in general, just because I like having the like diversity of like, hey, we need a healer for this fight, or hey, we need a tank this week because our tank called off. I like being able to like shuffle things around, so I'd probably pick Druid. If Warlocks were fun to play, I'd pick Warlock as well. One of the two.
DJ, what about you?
I'd probably roll my Samurai in Final Fantasy. Or my Black Mage.
Right, transition away from DJ then.
No. Either Assassination Rogue, because they play like a melee version of a Shadow Priest almost. Or I'd go more ham on my Paladin, because like Public said, I like to be able to be like a jack of all trades, do whatever the raid needs. Like I have full sets of gear for all 3 specs for my Paladin, so I can do whatever we need. So
sure.
Yeah. Still, Sam. So nice.
I'll take it. I like how you said if Warlocks were fun.
Yeah, if Warlocks are fun. Yeah.
I really enjoyed Warlocks last expansion. I thought they were really fun. I've tried my Warlock a few times, all 3 specs so far, and I'm not feeling it. I don't know.
Last time I had fun on my Warlock was in HFC when I was playing either Demo or Destro on Manaroth.
That's fun too.
And that's about it. Yeah.
Well, that was before. Was that before they got nerfed to the ground? Demonology, anyway.
Yeah, that was before the whole big change. They still had meta.
I wonder why. Exactly. All right. So take us out of here real quick. DJ, do you have anything you want to end the show with? Any nuggets of knowledge you want to part on the Shadow Priest community, or anything you want to give shout outs to on the end? Anyone else in the community you need to? It's your time. The whole thing. Soapbox it. Go.
All right. Well, shout out to Wowhead. They like to host my guide. I appreciate that. Shout out to all the guys in the Shadow Priest channel. You know which one I'm talking about. And shout out to my guild, Leviathan, because without them, I wouldn't have killed Jaina. And we do it on 2 days a week, 3 hours a night schedule, and that's fine by me, even if our progression's a little slower. But yeah, big shout out to the rest of the team at Warcraft Priest. We do a lot of work there, and it's great because I've learned a lot over the past, few years that I've been doing this with you guys, and my personal skill set for my actual job has improved because of it. So I could put that on my resume. But yeah, that's all I got.
No nuggets.
Thank you for having us as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As far as nuggets, I mean, the Waycrest Manor one, a lot of people apparently don't know that. As soon as that was said, I got like 5 DMs like, oh, what do you mean you can do this? Like, yeah, totally. When you are on Jaina, if you are mind controlling, you can still do decent DPS if you refresh your dots before you mind control. Really, it happens. All right. You can even do it while you're in void form, because you can have a shaman knock it off. You could stun it off. You could fear it off to the side and time it so that you're only in
just
MC for like 2 seconds. Or just kill the ads. Yeah. I don't know. There's lots of like little fine-tuned things, but yeah, it's hard to have a nugget for Shadow Priest.
Oh, see, it comes up in chat again because we have new. So Luxtos tossed the
Yeah.
stream of raid. So what Waycrest Manor trick, DJ? What were you talking about earlier?
When you are doing Waycrest Manor, when you go in, every time there is a random door that is open. Once you go in, you can use Mind Vision on one of the ads and see from their point of view which open door is. You can also do it when the timer is counting down, and you can target stuff outside of the bubble, and it still works. It's great. So it's not exactly needed. It doesn't give a reason to actually bring a Shadow Priest to high-end Mythic Plus, but you can be somewhat useful for utility once. That's about it.
All right. Public, same thing for you.
Yeah,
anything
just
you want to shout out with? What do you want to end with?
giant shout out to the Warcraft Priest team. There's so many of us. It's hard to keep track of everyone, but especially Anshlon for doing all the work that he does with me on the SimC stuff. And then just in general, shout out to everyone in the SimC community. I know not everyone sees it, but the entire SimC team was working around the clock to get everything ready for 8.2 launch, and they did a pretty fantastic job as far as I'm concerned. So it's pretty awesome from that standpoint. All the essences and all the trinkets and everything has to be added. Every patch is a little crazy. So shout out to that. Other than that, yeah, that's about it for me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions anyone has. Just message me on Discord, and yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Very good. You guys didn't have any moratoriums you wanted to put on something. Is there a question that you get a lot that bothers you? It doesn't sound like anything came up during the show that was like a pet peeve.
Patchwork sims are evil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shadow's viable in Mythic Plus.
Okay.
It is. It does okay damage, enough to do a 10 or a 15 every week. You shouldn't be pushing keys with the Shadow Priest.
You can.
You can, but you shouldn't. There are better classes to bring. And that's like bleeding edge, like pushing like a plus 25. Like,
Sure.
yeah, okay, you're going to bring the best of the best there. But if you want to do like a 18, 20, you can bring a Shadow Priest. It's totally fine. It's not going to... You're probably pugging one or two people anyways. So, and if you have a good Shadow Priest, they're going to probably out DPS them. Sorry, it's true. Yeah,
There you go.
Could have used that as my nugget. Damn.
right from DJ Riff's mouth. There it is. All right, hitting this button over here that I have prepped this time. No flub like last week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Episode number 191. As you can hear, sorry for the whole throat thing, but I'm doing this show under the weather. For you guys, don't say I never did anything for you. Next week, again, I'm hoping to put together a patch 8.2 Wowhead guested, primered show to go over a bunch of different resources on Wowhead and catch up on things that they've been doing over there if you don't know, and to sort of go over how more people have figured out essences and all of this stuff. That's next week's show. But back around the horn again, there is Public. You can go follow him over on Twitter at Public Priest and hit him up in Discord. Check out all the awesome sims and stuff he does over there, and praise the amazing beard this man has. You got to respect the beard. Thank you for being on the show again, sir. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And there's DJ Riff. Sadly, no beard, but a little bit of stubble going in. It's fine. Just let it come in. You know, you got to get the rating beard going back over there. But on Twitter at DJ Riff 1428. Hit him up in Discord over on Warcraft Priest. Show some lub-a-dub over on his Wowhead guide. And thank you for coming back on the show, sir. Sorry it took us like a month to get here, and the show was breaking, and you fell into the void and everything else, but I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you very much. And there's over here. That's me. And again, double checking. Make sure you guys know if you want more of the show, then you need to go over and check out the show's Patreon page. I'll be sitting down with my guests today after the show to go over just that. We're going to talk about a couple of different things here. We're going to make another little BTS show for them. So if you'd like more of the podcast unscripted, we're just going to kind of hang out and talk about whatever we want to talk about. That's going to be over on Patreon if you want a little more of this. If you missed any of the main show, of course, YouTube for the archive goes up like a day later. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music. Just search Final Boss TV, all one word, capital F, capital B, capital TV. And then, of course, you can go to the website, finalboss.tv, and you can get the audio only right there, too. The podcasts that are on Patreon also go audio only, as well as an RSS feed link. Just slap that into your audio device if you use it. But that's it for me. Enjoy farming your major and minor essences. Enjoy farming that AP. Get it at 55 before raid comes out. Do it. You know you have to. And have fun farming your benefit gear. But until next week, everybody, we'll see you then. I can't even breathe in. Bye. Wait, it's the wrong screen. Where's my guest screen? There they are. Okay, there we go. Wave at the nice people.
Bye.
Oh my goodness. My throat needs a rest.
First try.
The first, yeah.